everyone, welcome to another Wizard101 video. Today we are going to go over which schools are the best from starting from the last school, so the 7th school in 7th place, all the way up to the first best school for soloing in the game. So we're going to go in detail of each school and explain my own opinion on why I think that school's like the worst solo school, and give it some good points, some bad points, and just pretty much give you guys an idea of which school it'll be very easy to quest solo in. So without further ado, let's get started at number 7. Some of you guys probably guessed. Now, if you play balanced solo, it's a very hard school to solo in, especially when you go against a balanced boss. It is very difficult, especially when you don't have converts in this school. You do have Spectral Blast, Hydra, Chimera, Nested Fury though to kind of like help you with balanced bosses. But this school doesn't have any converts. It does have a lot of blades and some traps. This school has very decent very decent damage. If you have a great pet, this can be a lot higher than it is right now. My pet's kind of terrible, but you can have great damage. Your resistance is pretty good, pretty average. Accuracy is not bad. Your critical can be very high with the crit pet like I have. I currently don't have Dragoon gear on this wizard, which is why my crit's not like higher. But yeah, you can pretty much have decent all-around stats. This school does give a lot of like great spells like elemental shields. You got the weakness. You have judgment, and just like all-around great spells. Just questing solo is just a pain. This school is more of a support school. It's not really a solo school. It can be very difficult, especially at balance bosses like I mentioned before. So this is the reason why balance is number 7, and that's pretty much it for the balance school. It is just very difficult for balance bosses, and the damage on this school is not as great as the others. So that's why this school is number 7. Let's move on to number 6. Alright, number 6, guys, we have Storm. Now, Storm has amazing damage and amazing critical, but they lack on health and also resistance, which is why they're all the way down at number 6. If they had more resistance and more health, this school will probably be in the top 4. But for now, this school is at number 6, and yeah, it's just pretty much just a lack of health, 6k health. And this is with Dragoon gear as well, so I have the max Dragoon gear set, so that's why his health is 6k. He has 169 damage. This can be risen up to 175 with certain sets. Resistance 28% with Dragoon, 42% accuracy. Accuracy is really good later on for Storm. Storm is pretty bad early on in the game, and their accuracy is a lot lower, but once you hit like level 100 as Storm, you'll get a lot more accuracy and be able to hit more, and your resistance will probably be higher than this, especially with the Malastair gear. So that's why Storm is so low. Is early on in the game, it's very tough for Storm to solo. Their accuracy lacks, their resistance terrible, and their health is a lot lower than it is now. But later on in the game, Storm is pretty easy to solo, especially when you got max crit and high damage like I have. And yeah, this school is pretty fun when you're maxed out, but it is pretty bad earlier on, which is why it's so low on this list, the number 6. And you got very good spells like Tempest, Bugs, you got Stormlord. This school is just great in dealing damage. Not so great when you're soloing, which is why it's number 6. So now let's move on to number 5. Alright guys, at number 5 on this list we have Myth. Now Myth is kind of like Storm. They have like very low health, probably the second worst health in a game. They also have great damage and great critical. They're kind of like the Storm of the spirits, like so between Myth, Death, and Life. Myth school is pretty much the hitter out of those 3. So their health lacks. Their resistance isn't too bad. It's almost on par with Fire. Their resistance is okay. It's pretty average. Their damage is pretty good. This wizard only has Paradox gear, so his set's not complete yet at 130. His critical's very high, 747 with Paradox gear. It probably could be close to max with Dragoon gear. And yeah, they are pretty much a damage school and not so much a tanking school, and their health it lacks. It can probably reach about 7k with Dragoon gear though. So if you have Dragoon gear, this can come up a lot. Earlier on in the game, Myth is pretty easy to solo with minions and stuff, but it definitely beats Storm in balance. I wouldn't say they beat the other schools that are ahead of Myth though earlier on in the game, and they're still pretty much in the number 5 slot. So number 5, Myth here has just great spells overall. You can stun your enemies, you can summon a lot of minions, and they have great like shatter spells. You have Athena Battle Sight here that you can get from Lore Master. Minotaur is really good, getting rid of shields. Same thing with Earthquake, Orthrus. Like you can't, and a lot of stun spells. Like Medusa is really good for like PvP and stuff, and also Basilisk is really good. You got the Scion, Myth Scion is pretty decent. Mystic Colossus is really good. Celestial Calendar and Witch's House Call. Like this school is pretty much an average school, which is why it's number 5 and not higher on this list. Because when you go solo, you have this lack of health here. That's kind of chaining you for like certain bosses. You can't really solo, but this character you can pretty much solo any boss in the game. When it comes to cheating bosses though, it's very difficult to solo. So that's why they're so low on this list. The lack of resistance and health. But their damage and critical is pretty good though. Don't get me wrong there. So let's move on to number 4. Alright everyone, welcome to the number 4 school, which is the School of Life. So Life is very low on this list for solo school, all because of their lack of damage spells. So they have decent damage spells, but the Life Scion is just terrible. Life Scion Life Scion is by far the worst life spell in the game. Their damage is great though, 140 damage for my life at max. He's using Paradox gear, so he could have higher damage than this with Dragoon gear. Resistance is pretty good as well. It's 35 resist for max level. Earlier on in the game, Life, the reason why Life is the number 4 is because you don't get an enemy spell as Life until you reach level 58, which is Force Lord. Now they changed some things with the new level, the new 4-pip spell, Ratatoskr Spin here, that you can hit with all enemies, but you have to farm a pack, which is called the, let me find it here. It's the Grizzleheim lore pack. So you only can get this spell from the Grizzleheim lore pack by the time this video comes out. This is the only way you can get the Ratatoskr Spin spell on your life, is by using that pack and try to get it and get lucky. So that's the only way to get it. Pigsy's also a really good life spell. Lamasu's pretty good as well. But Life lacks all enemy spells until level 58, which is why it makes it so difficult to solo, because when you go on a spell quest to attack multiple enemies, you have to wait till you get Centaur twice, and that just takes too long. So it can be a pain until you reach level 58. Once you reach level 58 though, Force Lord is one of the best AoEs in the game that doesn't require a Shadow Pip. So you'll be using Force Lord a lot as a life when you're level 58. It's a very useful spell. And Life also has a lot of healing spells that you can easily heal yourself back up to full health if you need to. So that's why Life is at number 4. It's because all their healing spells, they can easily heal back up. They got great resistance, and their damage is alright. But earlier on in the game, it is painful to solo. So that's why Life is so far down on this list. They would be higher if they had a better AoE earlier on, but they don't until level 58. And you have to pay to win. to get the Ratatosaurus spell if you want to make it a lot quicker. So yeah, that's why they're so low. So moving on to number 3, and see you guys there. So at number 3 here, guys, we have Fire. Now Fire is an amazing skill with damage, critical. They have decent resistance, and their spells are just amazing. Like Fire school spells is very good, which is why Fire is number 3 on this list for the best solo school, is just because they're like, look at this. They have high damage. They have great resist. Like this is using Dragoon gear. So I have 38 resist, 169 damage. I summon spells all the time, 100% chance. I have 87% critical rating. I don't have a great pet, so that's why my critical rating is so low. Arm Pierce is decent. You know, Power Pip is no problem at high level. So yeah, this school is just amazing. Like Fire Dragon, I mean, you hit, and it also has overtime. Like you can hit huge, and you have a huge overtime. Like this school is just amazing when it comes to their overtimes, and their damage is really, really good as well. Now this deck is set up for Prince Vigor, that's why I have it set up like this. FFA is beautiful, especially when you hit and you have another fire on your team that might not have as much damage as you, so you hit with this, and then they can use that plus 25 from the FFA to also hit with their spell and kill the boss if you can barely kill them. So this spell is amazing. Raging Bowl is really, really good for a 6 pip spell. 775 to 900 damage, and also minus 25% on all enemies. The Fire Scion is really good. You just put a fuel on and an elemental trap on, and this guy will do twice as much damage. That's 2400 damage. It's really good for bosses that don't cheat when you put traps on them. Very useful spell. Scorching Scimitar is one of the best 4 pip shadows spells out there, in my opinion. It does a lot of damage, 1092. Sun Serpent's really good as well, 900, 1000, also 300 to all enemies. It's a really good fire spell. So that's why fire is so high on this list, is because their damage is really good, critical is good as well, and their resistance is pretty up there. It's average, so, and they're a damage school. So this school is a force to be reckoned with when you solo, and it's pretty easy with all of these overtime spells, and like you got backdraft, and you don't really need to use a link or any of that, but they get stuns and stuff too. So this is why fire is so high up here. Fire Rampage is Burning Rampage is also really good. So that's why fire is number 3. So we're going to be moving on to number 2. All right, number 2. You guys probably guessed this already for the one of the top best solo schools in the game. And number 2, we have Ice. Now Ice is way up here because their resistance is really good. When they jade up, they can if you have a really good like block pet, like a resistance pet, you can easily get 100% resistance universal in to all schools on this school. So you can also do it for like some other schools too, but for Ice it's very easy to get up there with resistance. So that's why they're all the way up at number 2. Their resistance is very high. Their health is the best in the game. Like they have so much health. Their damage is alright. Their critical is also alright, to where you can do some great damage. And you can just spam Ice Weaver, honestly, and like take no damage at all, especially for like PvP or if you're questing. Ice Weaver it will just help you a lot with that minus 90% minus 75% shield. I think it's 75%. We'll check here. Yeah, minus 75%. So you can honestly just spam Ice Weaver and be perfectly fine. And Ice also has some good overtime spells, just like Fire. And yeah, like I said before, their damage is not bad either. Like mine has 138 damage and 43 universal. But this is with just Paradox. If I had full Dragoon, his accuracy will be better, damage will be better, resistance will be better, critical will be better as well. So right now this is where he's at. Early on in the game, it's really easy to solo as well for Ice. Ice is just good at soloing throughout the game, no matter what level you are. They're just really good at soloing. And Tower Shields help out a lot with that as well, minus 50%. I also use this spell on all the other schools, which is also why Ice is up here at number 2, because you kind of need this spell. Like, it's so useful. It's better than going for the level 8 spells. You also get freeze, the stun targets, Legion Shield, Frozen Armor. Like, you get some very good spells. You can steal from a target, remove a tick from a friend, steal health. Frostbite is really good at PvP for the overtime. You got Reindeer Knight to help you out. Winter Moon. Like, Ice just has very good spells and very good overall stats and best resistance and best health in game. So they have to be up here on the list at number 2. So let's move on to number 1 and see which school ranks at the top. Alright, number 1, those who probably guessed it, congratulations, you guessed correctly. Now, Death is the number 1 best solo school in the game, in my opinion. So the reason why Death is way up here on the list for best solo school is due to their spells, mainly. So Lulu here, once you reach level 100, you can pretty much spam this thing on any boss, any cheating boss, just any boss in a game, and like get all your health back instantly. So if you just blade up and they hit you so hard that you're almost dying, just use a spell when you have it in hand, and all that health will be right back in your little vial over here, a little orb. So this spell is just one of the most broken spells in the game, in my opinion. You can easily get all your health back. You can easily solo the Storm Titan and easily solo some of the bosses in the Catacombs as well with a simple strategy you use. And yeah, this spell is awesome. Deer Knight's a great spell. You have Dr. Vaughn's monster. The Death Scion is also pretty good as well. And Death also has a lot of weakness spells like Plague. I mean, you got Empower, Faints. You got Doom and Gloom, great for PvP. Bad Juju, one of the most useful spells in the game later on against bosses. You have Beguile, you have Virulent Plague, I don't know how to really pronounce that, Mass Infection, minus 40 to all enemies. Like, this school just has a lot of weakness spells and a lot of spells that gives you back health, like Scarecrow, Wraith, Dr. Vaughn, Scion of Death, Call of Cthulhu, or Lulu for short. And you also got Winged Sorrow. You got some good single hits as well, like Kisma as well. Avenging Fossil's alright. We don't talk about Avenging Fossil much. Skeletal Dragon's a really good spell to use as well for the overtime. So that's why Death is on this list for number 1. And also their damage is pretty good too. Like, I don't even have Dragoon gear yet. I got 140 damage, 40 universal. This is going to rise up. This is going to rise up. And my critical is going to rise even more too if I have the Dragoon gear. So Death has great damage and great critical once you get the Dragoon gear. And early on in the game, they're also pretty good. I mean, you got Goal and all kinds of other useful spells. So yeah, that's my list, guys. Number 1, crowned for the best solo school in 2020 is Death. So Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you give this video 100 likes, I will make another one of these videos, but instead it's going to be which school's the best to start off with in the game. And if that video gets 100 likes, I have some more ideas for you guys. So if it gets 100 likes on this video, I will make a new one for which school is the best to start off with. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.